Hello, I'm Abigail, and I want to tell you a short parable that reminded me that everything has a reason. Before we begin, let's take a long breath together and use it slowly. Once upon a time, in a land far away, there was a king who ruled over a prosperous kingdom. He was a just and fair ruler, loved by his subjects for his wise judgments and kindness. However, he was also a curious man, always seeking new knowledge and testing the limits of his power. One day, as he sat in his throne room, the king began to ponder the question of loyalty. He wondered how much his subjects truly cared for him, and whether they would remain faithful even in the face of adversity. After much thought, he came up with a plan to put his people to the test. The king announced that he would be hosting a grand feast, to which everyone in the kingdom was invited. The feast would be a celebration of the king's reign and a testament to the prosperity of the land. However, the king also secretly ordered that a single fly be placed in each bowl of soup that would be served to the guests. On the day of the grand feast, the people arrived dressed in their finest clothes, eager to enjoy the sumptuous food that had been prepared for them. The tables were laid out with an array of dishes, and the aroma of roasted meats and freshly baked bread filled the air. As the guests began to eat, they noticed something unusual in their soup, a small fly floating on the surface. Some people were disgusted and immediately stopped eating, while others simply picked the flies out and continued to eat. Some people were so shocked by the presence of the fly in the soup that the entire meal was ruined for them. They could no longer enjoy the other amazing dishes or the praiseworthy wine, as their focus was solely on the fly. By the end of the meal, they were gossiping and talking about how shocking it was that the king would allow such a terrible thing to happen to his guests. The king watched with interest as his plan unfolded. He observed his subjects closely, noting their reactions to the flies in their soup. Some people had thrown their bowls of soup on the ground in disgust, while others had continued to eat without a care in the world. However, there was one man who had caught the king's eye. This man had carefully picked out the fly from his soup and placed it on the table next to him. He then continued to eat his soup as if nothing had happened. The king was intrigued by this man's behavior. He wondered why he had not been disgusted by the fly in his soup like the others. Was he simply hungry and willing to overlook the fly, or was there something more to his actions? The king was intrigued by this man's behavior. He called him forth and asked him why he had not thrown away his soup like the others. The man replied, "My king, I am a loyal subject of your kingdom. I know that you would not knowingly allow a fly to be placed in my soup. Therefore, I assumed that there must be some reason for it, and I did not want to waste the precious food that you had graciously provided." The king was impressed by the man's answer. He realized that he had found someone who was truly loyal to him, someone who would follow him even in the face of adversity, and so the king decided to reward the man for his loyalty. He called the man forth and presented him with a bag of gold coins. "My loyal subject," the king said, "you have shown me that you are a true believer in my rule. You have demonstrated that you have faith in me and in my actions, even when they may not make sense to you. For this I am grateful, and I wish to reward you for your loyalty." The king then turned to the rest of the people who had attended the feast. He addressed them, saying, "My loyal subjects, I have tested your loyalty today. Some of you were quick to judge and throw away the food that I had provided. Others simply picked out the fly and continued to eat. And some of you were so preoccupied with the bitterness caused by the fly incident that you couldn't see beyond it. You failed to appreciate the abundance of good, expensive food that I had provided for you. You did not have faith that everything was intentional. But this wise man, understood that there must be a reason for the fly's presence in his soup. He did not jump to conclusions, but instead showed loyalty and trust in me. And for that, he has been rewarded." The people looked on in awe as the king spoke. They realized that they had been part of a test of their loyalty and devotion to their ruler. And they also realized that they had failed, while this one man had succeeded. The parable reminds us that there is always a reason for everything that happens in our lives. Even when things may seem unpleasant or difficult, there is often a lesson to be learned or a reward to be gained. It is important to approach life with an open mind and a willingness to learn, even in the face of adversity.